Hi again, everyone. Welcome back. Glad you're here again. I'm glad to be sitting here on this beautiful day. I'm glad to be in a safe space. Glad to be able to have access to the kind of technology that allows me to connect to you, offer something. I'm aware that's a rare place, a privileged place. And I'm grateful for that. And so I want to use that opportunity to talk to you. Today I'm glad to be unhappy. How about that? I'm glad to be unhappy. That's today's talk. I hope it's short. I always plan for the talk to be short, and it never ends up being short. I get excited. I get caught up in the drama. I get caught up. I'm not sure it's drama. Maybe it is, just the passion. Caught up in the passion of sharing something, the passion of being connected to something. I get kind of connected to an energy. You know, it's a wonderful place. Anyway, glad to be unhappy. If you are into early 20th century musicals or musical theater, you might recognize that phrase. It's the name of a song by Rodgers and Hart, Glad to be Unhappy, from a musical called On Your Toes from 1936. I am not knowledgeable about such things, but I'm I'm aware of the song "Glad to Be Unhappy," which is what's kind of sparked the idea for this talk. I looked up the lyrics, heard the song, and went, "That's a fascinating song." Looked up the lyrics and went, "Oh my God, it's a Dharma talk." So as usual, I like to buy myself a little insurance. When we start to practice a lot, we start to see sort of Dharma everywhere, which is correct. It's appropriate. It's horizontal thinking, they call it, or lateral thinking, where you have an insight into something, a truth about something. The truth of impermanence, for example. Oh, this moment is going, going, gone. This breath is going, going, gone. Wow, that's true. That's a vertical insight. And then we start going, wait, my sandwich is going, going, gone. My house is going, going, gone. My body's going, going, gone. Oh my God, nothing is permanent. I start seeing impermanence everywhere. Horizontal thinking, go, oh, it's true here and true here and true here and true here, and probably in different ways, right? The mechanism is the same, the dynamic is the same, but it expresses itself differently. It's a really cool skill. It tends to kind of come to us naturally. Some of us are better at that, I think, than others, but realizing, oh, the same teaching in my wisdom tradition is in their wisdom tradition, and they call it this, and it's in their wisdom tradition, and they call it this, and they talk about it this way, and they talk about it this way, and we talk about it this way. What we're talking about there is connective tissue, and it helps us. It helps us to see similarities in the universal, the elementary, basic kind of primary step in all of human experience, and then to honor the diversity of shapes up at the top, right? So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, as I'm giving you these remarks today, I'm playing with a song from 1936 written by Rodgers and Hart, and they were not Buddhists, and they had no insight into Dharma in a literal dharmic sense. They were just writing a very clever song, and it's a great song, and so I'm having fun with it, right? What I'm not trying to do is project my own worldview onto them and say, "Oh, they were great bodhisattvas who were offering us great dharma." Well, I guess on one level I can say they were because everybody is, but I'm not mistaken. I'm just playing with a vehicle. I'm just playing with something today, right? So you can look it up if you wish. The song is called "Glad to Be Unhappy." It's a catchy, wonderful tune. A lot of people did versions of this, usually in jazz. But the lyrics go this way. It's quite a short song, so this doesn't go on long. Fools rush in, so here I am, awfully glad to be unhappy. I can't win, but here I am, more than glad to be unhappy. Unrequited love is a bore. Yeah, and I've got it pretty bad. But for someone you adore, it's a pleasure to be sad. Like a straying baby lamb with no mama and no papa, I am so unhappy, yeah. but oh, so glad. There it is. That's it. I bet you can probably already guess why this grabbed my attention. Oh, what an affirmation of the human experience. It sounds, my friends, like the Bodhisattva vows, does it not? For those of you who are familiar with the Bodhisattva vow, the Bodhisattva vows, it's really one thing said several ways, but whether it's plural or singular, for those of you who are familiar with the spirit of the Bodhisattva vows that are said to be the center of Mahayana, great vehicle Buddhism, the affirmation of the human experience of suffering, the affirmation of the human experience, the affirmation of the decision to continue to participate in the sorrows of the world. Wow. I hope you can feel, as you hear that, as you're reminded of that, I hope you can feel the part of you that goes, yes. And I also hope you can feel the part of you that says no. Just be aware. Both of those are okay. It doesn't mean anything about your practice. But there's part of you, there's part of all of us. That's why I get to say this, because it's universal. There's part of you that says, no, 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 no. I only want the stuff that doesn't hurt. I do not want sickness. I do not want old age. I do not want death. I do not want separation. I know that they are inevitable from a human point of view. Those four things, the first four of the five remembrances, are part of the human condition, and the human part of me says, no. I do not want them. I do not accept them. I do not condone them. I do not endorse them. I do not affirm them. I do not affirm them. The answer is no. I'm not glad to be unhappy. I'm unhappy. Glad to be unhappy seems like brilliant wordplay to me, because it says there's an experience arising right now called unhappy. It's happening. I'm unhappy. The song makes it clear this person's in love with somebody else who doesn't love him back. It's unrequited love. Unrequited love. And so their experience, because the love is unrequited, the affection is unrequited, is unhappiness. And they're glad. Isn't that interesting? One is a reaction, unhappy. Reaction, unhappy. Reaction. I love you and you don't love me back. My reaction is I'm unhappy, right? And one is a response to unhappy. I'm glad. Only if I adored that person could unhappiness be present right now as a reaction to their not loving me back. Can you feel it? What an affirmation of the adoration. Is it possible to fall so deeply in love with your life that when you wake up with achy knees, kind of a sour stomach, some fear about today's phone calls and emails, dread about next Friday's dinner party, regret about, I wish I had said that to my dad before he died, that you can be glad that all of those things are present. Genuinely. I'm glad it's all present. I affirm it all. Instead of what we normally do, which is picking and choosing. I like that bit and I don't like that bit. And I wish I felt that. And I wish I felt more of this. I wish I felt less of this. More of that, please. Less of this, please. This is our normal functioning. More of this, please. Less of that, please. That's your normal functioning. We call it desire and hate in Buddhism, because all we're talking about is greed or desire. I want more. And hate or aversion, which is I want less. More, less. Yes, no. Picking, choosing, preference. I love you. You want me, you love me back, right? No, I'm unhappy. There's a human experience happening. There's a million things you want right now. Your small self wants right now. There's a million of them. Make a list if you want. Make a list of how the world is broken and should be different. Make a list of it. how the weather should be different, how your food should be different, how your body should be different, how your remote relationships should be different, the emotions you should feel, the thoughts you should have, the beliefs you should hold, how your country should look, how the world should look. Write it down. Make a list of all the things that should be different so that you can feel happy. Make a list. You'll run out of paper. So the goal isn't to make all that go away. It doesn't seem reasonable to expect that suddenly a human being isn't going to be a human. It doesn't seem reasonable that judgment will never arise, or the preference for a nice day over a rainy day will stop arising. With our aversion, weeds spread. With our attachment, flowers fall. That's how Dogen said it. In Genjo Koan, Dogen said, with our attachment, even though we're attached to them, flowers fall. They wilt. That sucks. Even with our aversion, weeds spread. I don't like weeds. I like flowers. How come flowers keep wilting and weeds keep growing? The human condition. Dukkha, the first noble truth. The world of the red dusts. The human experience. The wheel of fate. Karma. Human life. Things as it is. I could just sit and keep giving you different words for it, but you all know what it is. It's what you were born into. And you took a breath that affirmed it all, a nice in-breath, a nice inhalation, and then you screamed, like we all do. Cried out in the face of the horror of all of it, life feeding on life, life being short and brutish and painful, suffering, defined by sickness and old age and death and separation, and moments of distraction and fleeting happiness. Be gobbled up by impermanence in time. Can you feel it? Holy cats. That's why this song stood out. Instead of, oh, I love her and she doesn't love me back, I'm unhappy, to go one more step up and go, and I'm glad. I'm glad about it. The human experience is happening. I am participating. Fools rush in, so here I am. If your practice, if your Zen practice, if your spiritual practice, your contemplative practice, your whatever it is, your awakening project, I really don't care what it is. If your awakening project doesn't make you more and more and more identified with the fool, you may want to look at it again. I'm not talking about the normal way of looking at what a fool is. I'm certainly not saying embrace ignorance and continue to live in defense and denial. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that from an ego perspective, all of the things that give us worth and esteem and value and respect and blah, 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 blah as human beings, the further and further and further and further we go into spiritual endeavor, the less traction we have in those realms, and the more they fade away, either by choice or by accident, and we become like fools. I'm not self-conscious about playing with children anymore. My super ego doesn't go nuts when I miss a day of meditation. It doesn't mean anything about me. I stopped being so attached to the vehicle that brought me to the other shore. I can pick it up and use it when I want. It doesn't have to be an identity anymore. It doesn't have to make me special. It doesn't have to meet my needs. I'm a fool. She doesn't love you back. That's okay. This isn't a transaction. If it's a transaction, that's not love. If it's wanting something back, it's not love. That's not how love works. Love is light. It just shines. Is that foolish? By normal human understanding, by normal human values, by all human ecosystems? Yes, it is. I gave you the $1 and you didn't give me a candy bar, so I gave you another $1. That doesn't make any sense. It's a good way to go broke, right? It's not how love thinks. If you haven't read the parable of the prodigal son in a while, reread it. It's Profound spiritual teaching. I can see why it upsets people. I can see why they don't like it. One child deserving of their father and one child not deserving by any normal human measure of their father's acceptance and love, and both getting complete acceptance and complete love. We can see why that's frustrating to our ego selves. I love you and you don't love me back. My reaction should be anger, rejection, shame, frustration. I should try harder and harder and harder to win you. And if you don't end up with reciprocity, if there aren't any reciprocal feelings, if you don't feel it back, then I'll try to destroy you. You hurt me, I'll hurt you back. That's how normal functioning works. You've made me unhappy. So this is just me reminding you that's not love. They didn't make you anything. And so glad to be unhappy completely thwarts our normal egoic understanding. I don't sit meditation to get something. I sit to shine. It's an offering. Am I included in it? Sure. By default, everything is. But you just give. You just offer. You just sit. After a while, even the word shine becomes extra. You just sit to sit. But what you get from it stops being any kind of metric for success or failure. It even stops being a question that you ask. It even stops being interesting. You're just glad you got the opportunity to do it. While your back hurt, while your brain was busy, while your heart was churning, that's okay. I'm just looking out the window to see the weather. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's raining, sometimes there's a storm, sometimes it's clear, sometimes lots of clouds, sometimes no clouds. I'm just glad to be looking out the window. It's a pleasure to be sad. The song says, it's a pleasure to be sad. It actually is. It actually is. Again, as I say that, please touch the part of you that rejects it. That's okay. It's not a problem. Please also see if there's part of you that goes, yeah, I actually think I've maybe had that experience of contentment. Contentment is just not needing anything to be different. I'm fond of saying that. It's a profound teaching. We think content means absence of affliction. It doesn't. It means I'm not fighting with the affliction that's present. This is basic Buddhism, but it's such a tenacity in our ego functioning to think it means the absence of difficulty, the absence of pain, the absence of constriction, the absence of ego functioning. It doesn't. It just means, oh, I see it, and I'm just right now not fighting with it. I don't need it to be different. I love her and she doesn't love me back. That's what's happening. To be content is to not have any of that needing to be different. I don't have to have that be different at all. I just notice that it's there. In Zen, we say this is things as it is. Sometimes radical acceptance. Acceptance is a pretty good word. I actually prefer affirmation, but I know that can get confusing for people. Affirmation or affirming something can feel like condoning or supporting or sustaining, and that's not it. It's just loving it. It's just loving it. That's why light or sunshine is the perfect metaphor. The light is just shining on it, that's all. The light shines on everything, it just shines. It's not asking for anything in return, and it's not picking and choosing. The rain falls on the fields of the just and the unjust. In our Old Testament tradition, we get the very same thing. In our Buddhist tradition, enlightenment doesn't pick and choose. It's your nature. It's a pleasure to be sad. Yeah, pleasure is actually present. If I'm very, 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 really deeply present, I can feel that there is sadness as a reaction to the karmic circumstance. I can feel that there's sadness in reaction to the karmic circumstance. I love her, she doesn't love me back. I can also, in addition, feel, because I'm a larger container for awareness, there is also pleasure in the observation, pleasure being more like, again, contentment, just allowing. It's okay. It's okay. In the allowing it to be there. It's just there. I still love them. I can include my sad self in that circle of love too. He loves her. She doesn't love him back. I love them both. There's not a problem there. There's not a brokenness there. There's not a flaw in her, a flaw in him. That's how it is. That's the arising. Yeah. It's quite an invitation. These teachings take us very, very, very far from our normal functioning. These are not our normal functioning. When I say these teachings, I'm talking about the Bodhisattva vow, but in this case, glad to be unhappy. So I can see why they choose the metaphor of being like a straying baby that's far from it's an orphan, right? Far from its home. A straying baby lamb, no mama, no papa. That's kind of how it feels sometimes. It's kind of how it feels. If you've had an experience of profound non-separation or profound contentment or profound opening of some kind, you'll notice it doesn't actually have an emotional component to it. It isn't good as opposed to bad. That's not it. You'll notice it actually transcends ego functioning. It just does. The whole map that got you there isn't there anymore. You're a long way from what you have always thought was your home. You can actually say, part of me is experiencing the first noble truth in the form of a body and an ego and a karmic self and a conditioned self. I say yes to all of it because none of it is me. There's also an unconditioned self that has always been present, that will never be absent, that can hold and be in relationship with all of that. It's no problem. No problem. That is a foolish response. Enlightened people are foolish. Yeah, they should be. They live by a different set of values. Different set of values. Right? Fools rush in. Rush! They rush toward it. It's like a mother rushes toward her infant crying in the middle of the night. You rush toward the suffering. You can't get close enough to the suffering quick enough. Isn't that funny? That's a foolish behavior, isn't it? The song says you can't win. That's the Bodhisattva vows. Right down the line. The first half of all four of the primary Bodhisattva vows is literally a variation on this can't be done, you can't win. Right? Beings are numberless. There's an infinite number of them, right? Delusions are inexhaustible. Like, you can't win at this. You know you can't win at this, right? Buddhism is unattainable. The Dharma gates are infinite. You can never learn all the teaching. You can never attain the thing you want to do. The number of beings that are suffering is infinite. And your ability to get it wrong is just as infinite. You cannot win. That's why they're designed that way. So that halfway through each of those four vows, your ego has to be abandoned. Because that whole first part is, this is the part that's going to make sense to the small part of you. And now we're going to talk to the bigger part of you. This first part of each of those four vows, the first half, is going to talk to the part that's so unhappy that she doesn't love you back. And now the second half of each of those four vows is going to say, I'm glad. I affirm it all. I vow it anyway. I affirm it anyway. I endorse it all as being an expression, an ornament of Buddha anyway. Oh, isn't it wonderful to be able to look at the whole thing? The whole thing. The shit show, the drama, the drama, the dumpster fire. To say, yes, I participate. I participate. I'm in the world. I don't renounce it. I don't say it's broken. I don't say it needs me to redeem it. No. I just see it very, 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 very clearly. I see I'm not separate from it. And I see that it is not separate from the fullness of everything. Eternity, Buddha, God, Spirit, perfection. This is the lotus land. Mahayana Buddhism, which includes Zen, Mahayana Buddhism is relentless with this message. This very place, the lotus land, this very body, the Buddha. It's unhappy right now. Isn't that nice? Can you be both? Can that human being have a Buddha to rush toward and have a Buddha meet them with yes? You are both. When you sit on your cushion, do you sit as Buddha and go, come on, show me what you've got today, human? Are you sad today? Is your love unrequited? Are you nervous about tomorrow? Are you still regretting the past? What's coming up? Show me. In this undifferentiated field of consciousness, constant luminous awareness, what have you got? You belong. All of it belongs. It's okay. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're here, that you're part of it. Are you unhappy? I'm glad that you're here. We all got messages when we were little as part of our conditioning that we were more acceptable when we were happy and funny and sweet and charming. We all got messages that we were less acceptable, less desirable when we were sad or angry or confused or cranky or pouty. We all learned to relate to ourselves this way. I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy that I'm unhappy. That makes sense to us. We understand those senses. Everything we've experienced in our life supports our belief in those senses. But glad to be unhappy. Oh, you're having the experience of heartbreak. Well, I'm sad for your suffering, but you're having the experience. You're having the experience of heartbreak. Welcome. Welcome into this gigantic lineage, millions of years of humans experiencing just what you're describing. You're welcomed in, you're part of it. There's a yes to all of that. It doesn't mean anything about you. No, it's not pleasant. Pain is present. So what? So what? It's okay. You'll survive pain. You'll learn. You'll survive it. It's okay. You'll be the observer of pain, the welcomer of pain, the lover of pain. At some point, you'll be happy. You can welcome it in. It's okay. You'll rush in like a fool. You'll rush in like a fool. Unrequited. Unrequited love for the world. That's adoration. That's the adore. The Adoration Chapel is a place in some convents or monasteries, I guess, where the act of adoration is engaged in, and it's designed to be adoration without consequence, adoration without reaction, adoration without response, adoration in imitation of God's adoration for us, right? As he so loved the world, so we love, right? That kind of thing. In Buddhism, this is the Metta Sutra. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering forever, everywhere, beyond all personal preferences. Every being, everywhere, throughout all of space and all of time. People I like, people I don't like, people I feel close to, people I've never met, people who were born and died a million years ago, that whole thing, right? The very same idea in all religion exists, this idea of universal, cosmic, completely transcendent, absolutely unconditional affirmation of the whole thing. All of it is included, all of it is included, all of it is included. Adoration. Adoration, to adore, to shine the light upon, right? When you sit and you're falling in love with the world, you don't expect it to give it back. You don't expect a response. It isn't that kind of a call. It's just a call. Maybe you've had the experience of seeing the Earthrise photo. Maybe you've had the experience of, I don't know, for me, it's being in one of those really, really big, like Omnimax, IMAX, whatever theaters, and seeing one of those space films about the Hubble telescope or the galaxy or something, and they always show some vision of the Earth, the view of the Earth from the outside, usually way small in the distance. You can see the Earth in its wholeness in proper perspective in space, and I always watch how my heart leaps. When it sees Mars, I'm curious. When it sees Jupiter, wow, I wonder after its beauty. When I see, Saturn, wow. Oh, it's all so cool. And the galaxies and pillars of creation, all that stuff. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. And then Earth shows up in the center of the screen, and I go, how I adore you. I know it's all me, but that particular shape, those particular colors, that's the cells of my body. That's what I'm made of. I'm made of that. That's mom. It's all mom because she's made of all the other stuff, right? But oh, in such a cellular human way. My heart just leaps when I see that beautiful green, brown, blue, white clouds, that little marble, that fragile and precious little jewel. I go, oh, I adore it. For just a fraction of a second, my heart is capable of adoring it and everybody who's ever lived and breathed on it. And all other hearts are broken. You've been in a body long enough to know they want something. They're dissatisfied with something. They're chasing after one thing. They're running away from something else. They're hurting, they're crying, they're screaming, they're grasping. They are not content. They are not satisfied. 90% of them, 90% of the time. And for just a flash in this very, very, very human heart, flesh of that flesh, I can go, oh, yeah, I adore all of it. I'm so glad to be unhappy. I'm so glad to know the flavor of that unhappiness. In my own body, I'm so glad to know the flavor, to have taste of the fear and the rage and the confusion and the longing and the thirst and the hunger and the pain, to know it, to have in the ground of my own experience what that is, to know it. I wouldn't want any bit of it to be different. I'm glad, deeply glad to be unhappy, to know that feeling. I affirm it. I say yes to it. You have this in yourself. I'm using very crude everyday language to describe the nature of the affirmation that every saint, every mystic, everybody who ever had an awakening, even a small one, has described. They always say the same thing. Everybody. You've had it too. Everybody's had some version of what I'm describing. I'm speaking in a language that you understand. This is not new. You've experienced gladness to be unhappy. Maybe it was only a flash, but you know this place. It's a beautiful place. It doesn't denounce anything that's happening. It doesn't negate. It doesn't leave or want to transcend. It doesn't judge or renounce. It doesn't imagine it'll be perfect someday after I do my work. No, it just affirms it all, shining exactly as it is. Glad to be unhappy. Imagine what had happened in your life, what it would be different. If you were affirmed when you were angry, if you were affirmed when you were sad, when you were very, very little, if you were affirmed when you were confused, when you were affirmed when you were angry, just have somebody say, oh, it sounds like you're feeling angry. Why don't you tell me that? Why don't you tell me the story of your anger? I'm glad to be with you. I'm glad. I'm glad to be with you. I know you're unhappy. I know you adore something that you imagine doesn't adore you back. I affirm you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to be with you in your confusion, in your heartbreak, in your sadness. I affirm it all. I'm glad. I'm sorry you're suffering, but that's okay. I'm so glad you're here. Can you feel it? What would your life be like? Well, the good news is you still have time. That's what the meditation cushion is for. You are that witness who gets to ask that person who shows up on your meditation cushion every day in their human body with their human problems and their human grasping and their human confusions and their greed and their hate and their ignorance. They get to show up every single day and they get to be met with Buddha. That's you. No judgment, no agenda, no correction. Just glad you're here. Yeah, glad to be unhappy, the fools that we are. I'm grateful. I appreciate your attention. I hope this is an offering, or this offering is a help. If it's not, that's okay. I appreciate you being there anyway. Thanks for your attention. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your curiosity about your life. Thank you for your spiritual impulse. All of it is a light. The world needs every one of those it can get right now. So thank you. See you next time.